Hello, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to share a recent finding that I discovered while testing. Indiscriminate's action skill damage. Indiscriminate, reflecting bullets, you know, that's action skill damage. It says on the card minus 50% damage. Apparently the way it does that is it just turns it into action skill damage of half damage. I don't know. To put that into perspective, that is minus 50% damage on your, bullet. Ties to the Bind is minus 70%. Indiscriminate can get ridiculous. You can stack it higher damage than Ties That Bind. And we all know how ridiculous Ties That Bind is. That doesn't need mentioning. So, if to show that in testing here, we've got a skag, and I shoot it with a 1000 damage sniper rifle, and we get 1445 damage. Which is a bit more than 50%, and that's with 45 stacks of do harm, 5 out of 5 points, no points in awakening. If we let our stacks wear off, and we shoot the skag again, it should be hitting for about 500 damage on the ricochet. So that right there, I've got nothing else equipped, nothing affecting it. So that is the action skill damage affecting the Indiscriminate. So what does this mean for Mara? If you actually build around it, you get ridiculous outcome. Yeah, this is true takedown footage, and it's melting it. I'll throw in a few boss kills in there as well. I think I might have a Wotan clip. It's scary what you can do with Indiscriminate and Ties That Bind together, and of course there's double dipping. If I shoot an enemy, a bullet will reflect with Indiscriminate, hit a secondary target, ramp up its damage. And then that secondary target can feed that damage back through Ties That Bind, back into the original target, applying that damage again for a second time. And if either of those targets die, that'll create a Remnant Ball, which can get action skill damage modifier for a third time. And then of course you can loop that, because if you activate Ties again before that Remnant Ball hits a target, the cycle repeats, and you're just applying more and more action skill damage on this one bundle of damage, and it just stacks up and up and up, and it just gets ridiculous amounts. I've hit numerous damage caps today, where it just doesn't show the number. This is terrifying. What the heck? Why does it do this? So that's with 5 out of 5 do harm, 3 out of 3 awakening. Now of course, that is the trade-off. It's a lot of points investment to properly abuse this. If you go halfway, you only see half of the results, and the problem is it makes Amara leaning on Ties That Bind even more, which is already an issue with Amara. A Ties That Bind is so strong, she ends up leaning on it and crutching on it. Without ties, she's not very good. Indiscriminate, of course, helps here. And this just makes it even stronger. Now, normally with the 1 point in do harm, the argument always is that you kill the other enemies too fast, you are left with one enemy still alive that you then have to finish off yourself with your poor single target damage. This, I think, just goes so overboard that it doesn't really matter anymore. It's just that crazy, and any Remnant Balls that are flying around are doing a lot of damage, so there's that. But even with that said, this does help non-ties builds a lot, because it gives you some form of crowd control and hitting multiple enemies at once, and ramping that damage up to ridiculous amounts without needing ties. In boss fights, I can be shooting the boss, and all the ads will just keep falling down and dying, because I don't even have to shoot at them, because a stray bullet will hit them for 18 quadrillion damage and kill them. Unfortunately, there aren't many big boss fights with another big, strong enough enemy to ricochet bullets into the boss, which is unfortunate, but I suppose that's for the better. And yeah, of course, for the most part, this doesn't really help boss fights. Amara's weakest point, boss fights, boss killing, slower than any of the other characters. Still weaker. I mean, it's not like the bosses are terribly difficult in this game, so you can get away with it fine, obviously. It's just that that is still the downside, and it doesn't really help with that. This information just makes Amara, the best mobbing character in the game, just even better and more ridiculous. So yeah, Indiscriminate's action skill damage. This game is spaghetti, and we're getting a patch later this week that says, direct quote, scaling up non-weapon sources of damage, such as action skill damage. They'll be increasing action skill damage according with the mayhem level, according to the dev update. So Hopefully it's targeted, like specific action skills and not just a general blanket modifier, otherwise that would be terrifying. Because then that would affect Indiscriminate and Short Fuse and Ties That Bind. But, you know, Ties doesn't need it. Indiscriminate doesn't need it. Well, Indiscriminate doesn't need any action skill damage. But anyway, that's in the future. I hope this information either interested you or helped you, you know, build your character to help tackle the harder content in the game. And say that was true Takedown Guardian footage. I'm gonna go play Flak now. This is only a little bit spaghetti. Amara is too much spaghetti right now. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.